The Galactic Council chambers buzzed with condescending laughter as Ambassador Tom Reed stood at the central podium, his blue uniform a stark contrast to the shimmering robes and exotic forms surrounding him. The massive dome-shaped hall stretched upward into darkness, filled with representatives from dozens of alien civilizations who had come to witness what they considered entertainment. "Humans," sneered High Chancellor Vex from his floating crystal throne, his tentacles writhing with amusement. "You truly believe your primitive metal ships belong among our fleets?" The assembled delegates erupted in clicks, hisses, and alien chuckles. The bird-like Kree delegation preened their metallic feathers mockingly, while the towering stone-skinned Gorak pounded their fists in what passed for their version of laughter. Even the usually stoic energy beings of Lux flickered with what could only be described as cosmic humor. Admiral Lisa Carter, standing behind Tom at the human delegation table, kept her expression neutral despite the burning anger in her chest. She had spent 30 years in Earth's military, rising through ranks that these aliens couldn't even comprehend. Her weathered hands remained steady as she reviewed the holographic displays showing humanity's primitive vessels. "Your kinetic weapons," continued Chancellor Vex, his voice dripping with disdain, "are relics from a bygone era. We transcended such crude methods millennia ago." The Nexari representative, a tall being of pure silver whose name was unpronounceable to human tongues, stepped forward. "Our plasma web technology can disable entire fleets without firing a single shot. Your bullets and missiles are quaint," echoed the insectoid hive queen Zara, her compound eyes glittering, like watching children play with wooden swords while adults wield energy itself. Tom's jaw tightened, but his voice remained diplomatic. "Perhaps you underestimate the effectiveness of proven technology, honorable delegates. Earth's military doctrine has served us well in our territorial conflicts." This statement triggered another wave of alien amusement. The crystalline Vorth sang their laughter in harmonics that hurt human ears, while the gaseous drift lords pulsed with colors that somehow conveyed cosmic-level mockery. "Territorial conflicts?" High Chancellor Vex's tentacles coiled with glee. "You mean your little squabbles on that single mud ball you call home? How precious." Behind the scenes, unbeknownst to the sneering delegates, Captain Jake Morrison sat in the command center of the Earth vessel Defiance, hidden beyond the system's asteroid belt. His ship, along with 50 others like it, represented humanity's true military might. These weren't the outdated vessels the Council had been shown. These were Earth's secret Guardian fleet, equipped with technology the aliens couldn't even imagine. "Sir," whispered Communications Officer Beth Parker, "we're receiving the mockery broadcast from the Council chambers. They're really laying it on thick." Jake's weathered face remained impassive as he watched the alien delegates ridicule his species. 20 years of commanding Earth's most advanced warships had taught him patience. "Let them laugh, Parker. Pride comes before the fall." Back in the Council chambers, the presentation continued its humiliating course. The aliens displayed holographic analyses of human technology, their scientific advisors pointing out every perceived weakness with theatrical flair. "Observe," announced the head Kree scientist, spreading his metallic wings dramatically. "Their largest vessels require massive crews to operate effectively. Our automated systems accomplish the same tasks with pure thought commands. Their armor plating," added a Gorak engineer, his stone-like features creasing with amusement, "relies on crude metal alloys. A single pulse from our matter disruptors would reduce their entire fleet to cosmic dust." The human delegation endured wave after wave of technical criticism, each point delivered with maximum condescension. The aliens seemed to take genuine pleasure in dissecting what they perceived as humanity's pathetic military capabilities. Ambassador Tom exchanged a subtle glance with Admiral Carter. Both knew the truth, that Earth's real warships incorporated salvaged alien technology reverse-engineered over decades of secret operations. The primitive vessels on display were decoys designed specifically for this moment. In conclusion, High Chancellor Vex announced with flourish, "We formally deny Earth's application for military alliance status. Your technology is simply too primitive to contribute meaningfully to galactic defense. The chamber erupted in celebration, with various alien species expressing triumph in their unique ways. None noticed the slight smile that crossed Tom's lips or the way Admiral Carter's hand moved almost imperceptibly to the communication device hidden in her jacket. The message was simple. Phase 1 complete. They took the bait. In the hidden fleet beyond the asteroids, Captain Morrison received the coded transmission. All ships, he broadcast on encrypted channels, maintain stealth protocols. The show is about to begin. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology. It was their ability to be consistently underestimated. 3 days after the humiliating council session, the Kree Dominion decided to make their point more dramatically. High Commander Rax, his metallic feathers gleaming with arrogance, led a fleet of 12 advanced warships toward the human colony of New Boston, on the rim world of Kepler 442b. This will teach the Mud Dwellers their place, Rax declared to his bridge crew, his beak clicking with satisfaction. A simple demonstration of superior firepower should convince them to abandon their foolish military ambitions. The Kree vessels moved through space like silver arrows, their energy shields shimmering with confidence, their plasma cannons charged, with enough power to level continents, while their matter disruptors hummed with deadly potential. To them, this was not a battle. It was pest control. Governor Mike Santos received the warning with grim determination. The colony's 20,000 inhabitants had been preparing for this moment since the council meeting ended. Every civilian had been moved to underground shelters, while the colony's modest defense platforms powered up their antiquated missile systems. "They're coming in fast," reported Defense Coordinator Anna Price from the command bunker. 12 ships, standard Kree configuration. Our surface batteries won't even scratch their shields. Mike nodded grimly. "Then we follow the plan. Send the distress signal and pray our backup arrives in time." The emergency transmission burst across subspace frequencies, reaching every human vessel in the sector. The message was simple but urgent. New Boston under attack. Request immediate assistance. Captain Jake Morrison smiled coldly as the distress call reached the Defiance. "Parker, signal the fleet. Operation Revealer is now active." 50 human warships materialized from seemingly empty space as their advanced cloaking systems disengaged. These vessels bore no resemblance to the primitive ships the aliens had mocked 3 days earlier. Sleek, angular, and bristling with weapons that incorporated the best of human engineering and secretly acquired alien technology, they represented Earth's true military doctrine. "All ships," Jake broadcast, "engage stealth approach. Let's see how superior their sensors really are." The Kree fleet approached New Boston with casual arrogance, their sensors detecting only the colony's pathetic defense platforms. "Hi, Commander." Rax barely glanced at the tactical displays as his ships entered orbit. "Begin the demonstration," he ordered dismissively. "Target their government buildings first. Make it clear but not too destructive. We want survivors to spread word of Kree superiority." The lead Kree vessel's plasma cannons began charging, energy building to devastating levels. On the colony below, civilians huddled in shelters while Governor Santos watched helplessly from his command center. Then space erupted with human fury. The Defiance materialized directly behind the Kree flagship, her railguns already spun up to full power. Tungsten projectiles, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, punched through the alien vessel's rear shields like paper. The Kree ship's elegant hull crumpled as kinetic energy transferred into devastating heat and destruction. "What?" High Commander Rax's words died as his bridge exploded around him. Across the battlefield, human ships appeared from impossible angles. Their cloaking technology, reverse-engineered from captured Nexari equipment and improved with human ingenuity, had made them completely invisible to Kree sensors. Now they struck with coordinated precision that turned the ambush into a massacre. The Kree vessels, designed for elegant duels against equally advanced opponents, found themselves facing an enemy that fought like rabid wolves. Human ships worked, in pairs and triads, using ancient pack-hunting tactics adapted for space warfare. While one vessel drew fire, others flanked and struck at vulnerable points. Commander Beth Williams, leading the destroyer Vengeance, grinned fiercely as her ship's particle beams sliced through a Kree cruiser's engines. "Target their power cores." "People, these fancy energy shields need power to function." The Kree tried to adapt, their superior technology allowing for rapid tactical adjustments. But human ships moved with unpredictable aggression, using maneuvers that seemed suicidal until they suddenly weren't. Earth vessels dove through debris fields, used gravity wells as slingshots, and turned their own damaged sections into improvised weapons. "Impossible," gasped Subcommander Vec from the bridge of the surviving Kree dreadnought. "Their primitive kinetic weapons are penetrating our quantum barriers." The truth was more complex than the aliens could grasp. Human engineers had studied every piece of alien technology they could acquire through trade, theft, or salvage. Rather than simply copying superior designs, they had integrated alien advances with human innovation, creating hybrid systems that no galactic race had ever encountered. Within 20 minutes, 8 Kree vessels had been destroyed or crippled. The remaining 4, including the damaged flagship, attempted to retreat at maximum speed. "Let them go," Jake ordered, as his weapons officer requested permission to pursue. "We want survivors to carry the message back." As the battered Kree fleet limped toward hyperspace, emergency transmissions flooded galactic communication networks. The impossible had happened. The primitive humans had decisively defeated a superior alien force using technology that shouldn't exist. The trap had been sprung, and the galaxy was about to learn that Earth's greatest weapon wasn't any single piece of technology. It was the human refusal to accept limitations. The news of the Kree defeat spread through Galactic, networks like wildfire, causing panic in species that had considered themselves untouchable. Within hours of the new Boston incident, emergency sessions convened across dozens of worlds, as military leaders struggled to understand how their primitive enemies had achieved the impossible. High Chancellor Vex's tentacles writhed with fury as he reviewed the battle recordings in his private chambers. The holographic displays showed human ships appearing from nowhere, striking with deadly precision, then vanishing back into the void. It defied everything the Galactic Council understood. "About warfare. Impossible," he hissed to his military advisor, General Corks. "No species developed such advanced stealth technology without our knowledge. These humans must have stolen it." General Corks, a battle-scarred veteran of countless campaigns, studied the tactical analysis with growing unease. "The stealth systems are advanced, yes, but that's not what defeated the Kree. Look at their movement patterns." The recordings showed human vessels executing maneuvers that seemed chaotic at first glance. Ships would break formation, apparently exposing themselves to enemy fire, only to regroup at precisely the right moment to deliver devastating coordinated strikes. It was like watching a pack of predators in perfect synchronization. Meanwhile, Captain Morrison stood in the briefing room of the Defiance, addressing his senior officers. The walls displayed tactical maps showing Galactic Council fleet positions throughout the sector, each marked with probability assessments and vulnerability analyses. Intelligence reports indicate they're mobilizing the Nexari 7th Fleet, announced Major Sarah Collins, Earth's top strategic analyst. 43 vessels, all equipped with their latest plasma web technology. The Hive Queen has also committed her swarm ships, added Colonel Robert Davis. Over 200 light attack vessels, designed to overwhelm through sheer numbers. Jake nodded grimly. Classic alien thinking. They believe superior numbers or more advanced individual systems will guarantee victory. He gestured to the tactical display. They're about to learn why human military doctrine evolved differently. The approaching alien armada was indeed impressive by any conventional measure. The Nexari vessels gleamed like silver stars, their plasma web generators capable of disabling entire fleets simultaneously. The Hive ships moved in perfect formation, each one a living weapon guided by collective consciousness. Admiral Carter, now aboard the command ship Retribution, coordinated the human response from the fleet's mobile headquarters. Unlike the aliens, rigid hierarchical structure, Earth's forces operated on a cellular command system that allowed for rapid adaptation and independent decision-making. "Remember," she broadcast to all human vessels, "we're not trying to match their firepower. We're going to outthink them." The battle began at the edge of the Tau Ceti system, where the alien fleet expected to find scattered human colonies ripe for conquest. Instead, they encountered what appeared to be a modest defensive force, 20 human vessels arranged in a traditional screening formation. Nexari Fleet Commander Zek activated his plasma web generators with supreme confidence. "Deploy the containment field. Once their primitive ships are disabled, the hive swarm can eliminate them at leisure." The silver vessels began generating an enormous energy net, designed to shut down every electronic system within a cubic light minute of space. It was a weapon that had never failed against any known technology. The human ships seemed to falter as the plasma web engaged, their energy signatures flickering erratically. Several vessels appeared to lose power entirely, drifting helplessly as the hive swarm moved in for the kill. "Too easy," Queen Zara chittered from her organic command vessel. "These mammals learn slowly." That was when the trap revealed itself. The disabled human ships suddenly blazed back to life, their apparent vulnerability having been an elaborate deception. Hardened electronics and redundant systems, developed through decades of preparing for electromagnetic warfare, allowed them to operate even within the plasma web's effects. But the real surprise came from below and above the battle plane. 60. Additional human vessels materialized from positions the aliens hadn't even considered, striking from angles that their tactical doctrine deemed impossible. The enemy had been so focused on the obvious threat that they'd ignored the three-dimensional nature of space combat. "Impossible!" Fleet Commander Zek shrieked, as human ships emerged from asteroid fields, planetary rings, and even the shadow of a nearby moon. "Our sensors detected no such force." Colonel Davis, commanding the flanking maneuver from his destroyer Nemesis, smiled grimly as his ships closed the trap. "That's because you were looking for ships, not thinking like humans." The human vessels had been disguised as space debris, inactive satellites, and even mining equipment. Their crews had waited in minimal power mode for hours, using techniques developed from submarine warfare and guerrilla tactics. When the moment came, they struck with perfect coordination. The hive swarm, designed for overwhelming frontal assault, found themselves caught in a crossfire from multiple directions. Their collective consciousness, so effective for coordination, became a liability as confusion and panic spread through their shared mental network. The Nexari fleet, built around the assumption of technological superiority, discovered that their advanced systems meant nothing when human ships refused to fight by their rules. The destruction of the Nexari 7th Fleet sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council that reached far beyond military circles. Within 12 hours, emergency sessions convened on 17 different worlds as species that had never known fear suddenly found themselves questioning their own invincibility. High Chancellor Vex paced his crystalline chambers, his tentacles coiling and uncoiling with barely contained rage. Holographic displays showed the tactical devastation. 43 advanced Nexari vessels reduced to drifting wreckage, over 200 hive ships destroyed or scattered, and still no clear understanding of how the humans had achieved such impossible victories. "Summon the War Council," he commanded his aide, a nervous drift lord whose gaseous form flickered with anxiety. "Every species with military capability. If these mammals think they can challenge galactic order, they will face the combined might of civilized space." Meanwhile, on Earth's orbital command station, Fleet Admiral Jack Reynolds studied intelligence reports with growing satisfaction. The 70-year-old veteran had spent 4 decades preparing for this moment, developing strategies that the galaxy's arrogant species would never see coming. "Sir," reported Intelligence Director Kate Morgan, "long-range sensors are detecting massive fleet movements. The Gorak Empire is mobilizing their fortress ships. The Kree are rebuilding their attack squadrons." Even the energy beings of Lux are preparing their reality-warping vessels. Reynolds nodded grimly. How many total? Conservative estimate. Over 3,000 ships representing 14 different species. They're converging on the Sol system, expecting to end this quickly. The Admiral's weathered face showed no fear, only cold calculation. Then it's time to show them what human military doctrine really means. Activate Protocol 7. Across human space, signals went out to installations that officially didn't exist. On asteroids, hidden moon bases, and camouflaged space stations, massive doors opened to reveal Earth's true military might. The ships the aliens had fought so far were merely the tip of the iceberg. Captain Morrison, now promoted to Commodore, stood on the bridge of the newly revealed Dreadnought Retribution. The vessel stretched nearly 2 kilometers long, its hull studded with weapon systems that combined human engineering with reverse-engineered alien technology. Around him, hundreds of similar ships powered up their reactors for the first time. Communications, he ordered. Signal the Council fleet. Tell them they have one chance to withdraw. The alien armada approached Sol system with supreme confidence. Their formation stretched across millions of kilometers, a display of power designed to crush human resistance through sheer overwhelming force. At its center, High Chancellor Vex's personal war vessel Dominion served as mobile command center for the largest military force in galactic history. Detecting human vessels, reported the Gorak sensor operator, his stone-like features showing satisfaction. Perhaps 200 ships, primitive design, arranged in defensive formation around their homeworld. Pathetic, sneered Vex. They cannot even field a proper fleet to defend their own world. Begin the final assault. That was when space itself seemed to come alive with human warships. From every direction, vessels materialized from concealment so perfect that even the aliens' most advanced sensors had detected nothing. They emerged from asteroid belts, from behind planetary bodies, from positions that should have been impossible to reach undetected. The human fleet numbered not in hundreds, but in thousands. Impossible, gasped Fleet Commander Roth from his Kree flagship. Our intelligence indicated they possessed fewer than 300 combat vessels total. The truth was more devastating than any alien mind could comprehend. For 50 years, humanity had been preparing for this day. Every mining operation, every trade mission, every diplomatic contact had been cover for the largest military buildup in galactic history. Human ships had been built in secret shipyards, crewed by personnel who officially didn't exist, and hidden in positions throughout the galaxy. Admiral Reynolds, commanding from the massive Dreadnought Sovereign, smiled coldly as his fleet revealed itself. All ships commence Operation Checkmate. The battle that followed redefined galactic warfare. Human vessels struck with coordination that seemed telepathic, using tactics that turned the aliens' superior numbers against them. Ships would appear to retreat, drawing enemy forces into carefully prepared kill zones where hidden human vessels waited. The Gorak Fortress ships, massive and heavily armored, found themselves surrounded by swarms of human attack craft that struck like angry hornets. Their powerful shields, designed to withstand conventional energy weapons, offered no protection against kinetic projectiles fired from impossible angles. The Hive Queen's new swarm ships, rebuilt after their earlier defeat, faced human vessels that seemed to anticipate their every move. What the aliens didn't know was that human intelligence had been studying their collective consciousness patterns for years, learning to predict and counter their coordinated attacks. "Withdraw," screamed High Chancellor Vex as his flagships' shields failed under sustained human fire. All ships, emergency withdrawal. But there was nowhere to run. Human vessels had positioned themselves at every escape route, turning the Sol system into a massive trap. The greatest military force in galactic history found itself surrounded, outmaneuvered, and facing complete annihilation. Surrender came. Admiral Reynolds's voice across all frequencies. And you live. Fight and you die. Choose now. The age of galactic arrogance was ending. The surrender came in waves, each species capitulating as they realized the hopelessness of their situation. High Chancellor Vex, his tentacles trembling with defeat, was the first to lower his shields and request terms. Within hours, the most powerful military force in galactic history had become prisoners in their own ships, surrounded by human vessels that had appeared from impossible positions. Admiral Reynolds stood in the council chambers 3 weeks later, but the atmosphere had changed completely. Gone were the sneering faces and condescending laughter. In their place sat beings who watched humanity's representatives with a mixture of fear, respect, and barely concealed awe. The same aliens who had mocked Earth's primitive technology now hung on every word from human lips. "The terms are simple," Reynolds announced, his voice carrying the authority of absolute victory. "All aggressive actions against human colonies cease immediately. Trade routes through human space require our permission, and most importantly, Earth joins the Galactic Council not as a petitioner, but as an equal member with full voting rights." High Chancellor Vex, his once proud demeanor reduced to nervous submission, nodded quickly. "Of course, Admiral Reynolds. Humanity has proven itself worthy of our highest respect." The irony wasn't lost on anyone present. The same beings who had dismissed human military capability as quaint now spoke of worthiness and respect. But Reynolds knew better than to gloat. Victory without wisdom led to future conflicts. "We don't want conquest," he continued, his tone measured. "We want partnership. Humanity offers our protection to any species willing to treat us as equals, rather than primitives." Around the chamber, alien delegates exchanged glances filled with new understanding. The Kree representative, Commander Tal, stood slowly. His metallic feathers had lost their arrogant gleam, replaced by genuine humility. "Admiral," Tal began carefully, "our military analysts have studied the battle recordings extensively. Your tactical coordination suggests communication methods beyond our current understanding. How did your ships achieve such perfect synchronization? Cross such vast distances?" Reynolds smiled slightly. "Trade secret, Commander, but I will say this. Never underestimate a species that learned warfare by fighting itself for thousands of years. We've had plenty of practice." The truth was more complex than the aliens could grasp. Human military doctrine had evolved through millennia of conflict on a single world where resources were limited and survival demanded innovation. While alien species had developed advanced technology in isolation, often with abundant resources, humans had learned to maximize efficiency, adapt quickly, and think several steps ahead of their enemies. Captain Morrison, now bearing the insignia of Rear Admiral, stood beside Reynolds. His promotion had come not just from successful command, but from pioneering the integration of human tactics with alien technology. The hybrid approach had proven devastatingly effective. "The Nexari fleet commander has requested a meeting," Morrison reported quietly. "He wants to discuss defensive partnerships." Reynolds nodded. The Nexari had been among the most arrogant opponents, dismissing human capabilities with particular disdain. Now they sought protection from the very species they had once mocked. Across the galaxy, the shift in power dynamics was becoming clear. Trade routes that had been controlled by alien cartels for centuries now required human approval. Species that had never known vulnerability suddenly found themselves dependent on Earth's protection from their own former allies, many of whom now questioned old alliances. On the Hive world, Queen Zara faced her council with mandibles clicking nervously. "The humans have offered to share their tactical database with us," she announced. "In exchange for exclusive mining rights to 3 systems, they will teach us their coordination methods." The offer represented something unprecedented in galactic history. A militarily superior species willing to strengthen potential rivals rather than simply dominating them. It was a concept so foreign to alien thinking that many species struggled to understand the strategic wisdom behind it. Dr. Lisa Chang, Earth's newly appointed ambassador to the Galactic Council, sat in her office reviewing partnership proposals from 17 different species. Each offer came with resources, technology, or strategic advantages that would have been unthinkable weeks earlier. The Drift Lords want to share their energy manipulation techniques, her aide reported. The Vorth are offering mineral extraction methods from their crystal gardens. Even the energy beings of Lux have proposed consciousness interface technology. Exchanges. Chang smiled as she signed another partnership agreement. Amazing how quickly primitive becomes valuable when you prove it works. The final irony came during the formal ceremony recognizing Earth's new status. High Chancellor Vex, his position now largely ceremonial given the shifted power structure, stood to make the official announcement. Today, the Galactic Council formally recognizes Earth as a founding member of the new Galactic Defense Alliance, he declared, his voice carrying none of its former arrogance. We welcome humanity not as subjects seeking our approval, but as the military leaders we should have recognized. From the beginning, Admiral Reynolds accepted the ceremonial crystal, but his thoughts were already on the future. Earth had won more than military victory. They had earned something far more valuable, the galaxy's respect, and with it, the chance to build something better than what came before. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human leadership had begun. The end.